Today we're going to talk about adding vectors together. So vectors, they follow this thing called the Commutative Law of Addition, which basically says that if we have some vector, say vector A, plus some vector B, this is going to be the same thing as vector B plus vector A. So these two statements mean the exact same thing. So this is the commutative law for vector addition. Now let's work out an example of this. So let's say here that we have vector A, and we want to add this to vector B. So how do we do this? Well, we can easily add vectors together by using what's called the head-to-tail method, which involves placing the head of one vector to the tail of the other vector. And I'll show you that any vector with length drawn out like this will have a head, which I'll circle here in purple. That's the head of vector A. Here's the head of vector B. And they also have a tail, which I'll circle in orange. So this is the tail of vector A to the tail of vector B. So now let's add these two vectors together. So we want to first draw out our first vector, vector A, plus vector B. Now we want to put the head of vector A to the tail of vector B. So as you can see, the tail and the head are connected right here. And this is vector B. So now our resultant vector is going to be drawn from the tail of the first vector to the head of the second vector. So here, something like this is going to be our resultant vector, A plus B. So remember, when you add vectors, you connect the head of vector A to the tail of vector B, and then you draw the resultant vector from the tail of the first vector A to the head of the second vector B. Now the commutative law of addition says that it doesn't matter what order we add these vectors, they'll end up being the same. So if we take a look at B plus A here, so we're going to draw a vector B, same vector B, plus the same vector A. So let's place B first. So the head of B, head of the first vector, is going to go to the tail of the second vector. So there's vector A. And now we draw our resultant vector from the tail of vector B to the head of vector A. This is going to be our resultant vector, A plus B. And as you can see, these two resulting vectors are the exact same thing. And let's just do one more example of this to solidify this concept. So let's just add together vector A plus, this will be our new vector B. So we'll place the head of vector A, like so, to the tail of vector B. This is vector B. And then we're going to draw our resulting vector from the tail of the first vector to the head of the second vector. So just like this will be our resulting vector, A plus B. Draw it a little bit better here. There we are. So this is our resulting vector from adding vectors A and vectors B together. And the commutative law of addition also says that vector B plus vector A is the same thing. So if you added B first and then added A, this would give you the exact same resulting vector.